Animal Crossing New Horizons has been out for about 2 months now during the recording of this video. The reason I've waited so long to make this review is because this is a game that's content is time gated in real time, meaning that it can take a few weeks before you see all that the game has to offer, and Animal Crossing has always been a series that really dedicated itself to this concept for better and for worse. Now I did make a nitpicking Animal Crossing video on this channel, and those points will be repeated here, so I do apologize if portions of this video come across as redundant, but now that my excitement for the game has worn off and I've put over 200 hours into it, I can safely say that Animal Crossing New Horizons is a good game. But it's also an incredibly frustrating experience with some backwards quality of life choices and awkward design. Animal Crossing's visual style is fantastic. I love the way all the animals look and our custom characters blend into the world beautifully. There's an astounding amount of variety in the design of these villagers to ensure that you and your friend having the exact same villagers is extremely unlikely. I also love all the little interactions they have with each other, and your villagers can now somewhat interact with your furniture and do things like water flowers, eat sandwiches, stargaze, dance, sing, exercise, read books, and much more. I really like the new villagers visually and animation wise, but it's a damn shame that in exchange for this, these villagers feel like hollow husks of their former selves. The personalities in this game feel extremely dumbed down and limited compared to the last games. The dialogue your villagers spout gets repetitive very quickly, they don't really have much to say in general, and a lot of villagers are just carbon copies of others. Because of how lacking the dialogue is, I can't help but miss how nasty cranky villagers could be or how judgmental the snooty ones were. It's also hard for me to call these villagers upgrades just because their visual design is better. The music in New Horizons is great, and it always brings a nice pep to the busy work you're doing in the game. Animal Crossing has always had this uppity kind of out there music, and I was sad when it was missing in New Leaf. I'm glad that Nintendo has managed to find a happy medium between the two, and I also like that each piece of music has a different sound to it when it's rainy or snowy, which I think is neat. Sure, it doesn't change the song much, it just adds a little bit of a drum line, but it's still nice. Overall, I really like Animal Crossing New Horizons' visual style, and while I don't think they're the most impressive showcase of modern graphics, its art style ensures that it won't age poorly like other games on the Switch. Gameplay-wise, Animal Crossing I've always thought was unique. Sure, you just plant flowers, talk to animals, design your home, design your town, shop around, visit friends, upkeep your town, pay your loans, dig fossils, fish, catch bugs, earn money, and much more that I'm missing. But the unique thing about Animal Crossing is trying to fit this all into one day. Because like I said, the entire game is in real time. Shops close at a certain time and won't reopen until the next morning. So while there is a whole actual real life day to get things done, the game encourages planning ahead and setting goals for yourself, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Especially in the times we're currently living in, it blows my mind how giddy and excited I felt when I woke up to something I had set up the night before, like building a bridge or relocating a villager. Animal Crossing's core gameplay is what attracted me to the series in the first place, and how I see it, it's almost impossible to change any of this without losing Animal Crossing's entire identity. It's like saying that Pokemon shouldn't let you catch Pokemon. Each game in the franchise adds features that add to the core and make it easier to play for years. For example, the original game set the groundwork for the whole series. Wild World added a lot of micro holidays and more villager interaction. City Folk brought Wild World to HD in a downtown area for you to explore. New Leaf gave you all sorts of control with how you designed your town and gave you a managerial role. And finally, Animal Crossing New Horizons gives the player complete control of how they want to make their island paradise. Terraforming is a very welcome feature after years of wanting it, and people have made some truly incredible islands. The problem is that that terraforming sucks in its first implementation. It's so tedious and inefficient that I have this dream island in my head that I have all planned out, but I'm hesitant to actually go for it because I know that I'll have to deal with terraforming. The main issues I have with it are the fact that when you build a cliff or form a river, you have to do it one block at a time, which is the definition of total agony in this game. Now, for comparison's sake, in a game like Minecraft, you also have to do things one block at a time, and I wouldn't classify the building and destroying in Minecraft as annoying. So why is one tedious and the other one isn't? Well, Minecraft is designed well enough to realize that doing things one block at a time is fucking annoying if you have to deal with a long ass animation every time you interact with the world in that way. When you put the two side by side like this, sure, the difference is about 12 seconds, but that really adds up when you're doing a large project or a full-scale redo of your entire island. Another difference is Minecraft doesn't fight you for trying to alter its sandbox. If you're terraforming an entire floor of your island in Animal Crossing, you have to make damn sure that all of your flowers are out of the way and you need to get rid of any trees because the game will not allow you to break a block if there's something on top of it. I understand that this feature probably exists so kids don't wreck their entire island with nothing stopping them or whatever, but it's so incredibly annoying when a 22-year-old man-child can't edit their island without Nintendo thinking I'm some idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. Sure, there's the island cleanup feature that can clear these trees out of your way, but again, it only does one at a time, it doesn't do flowers, and there's a long animation to it. Why can't I select an option to bring up a separate instance like when I'm editing my house? I'm not saying I want my whole island to be in this menu, but how about just limiting it to a certain highlighted area like what we see on our camera, for example? What if just this area was highlighted and from there I could select trees and flowers that I wanted to get rid of? Sure, it's still annoying, but at least it's slightly more efficient. Do you want to know how a game like Minecraft handles this? Yeah, in Minecraft you still do have to cut down trees if you want to clear an area, but in my opinion it's infinitely less annoying in this game because at least I'm never stopping my progress to watch an animation. Now I realize that Minecraft and Animal Crossing are entirely different games and I shouldn't really be comparing them, but the reason I am is because Minecraft lays out the groundwork for how to do a sandbox game of this caliber so perfectly, and it's frustrating to see a game with similar elements implement those mechanics so poorly. Another feature that was added to this game was tool degradation, which has zero redeeming qualities, so unlike terraforming, there are no positives before I rip into it. If you've seen my past videos, then you'll know that I really do not like weapon degradation in games. To me, it's the antithesis of fun, and when it's implemented poorly, I hate it even more. I can safely say that fucking Animal Crossing is the last game I'd expect to have degrading and breaking tools. Now I know that the past games had axes that could break, and that was fine. The visual indicator that it gave you was really handy in letting you know when it was going to break, so it never came as a surprise. However, now that all of your tools can break, suddenly, whoops, no more visual indicator. We took it out for no reason, sorry. I mean, seriously, I can live with tools breaking if there's at least some kind of warning, whether it's a degradation bar, a durability number, visual cues, anything. The extensive crafting introduced in New Horizons does alleviate this annoyance by making it so you can pretty much craft a new tool anywhere if you have the materials for it, and you can customize the tool at a DIY workbench which resets its durability, which does help, but in my opinion the degradation system in this game sucks no matter which way you paint it. Speaking of crafting, this new feature is excellent and I love it and I want it to stay forever. Throughout your playthrough, you have a chance of finding DIY recipes scattered all about your island. They can be shot down from a balloon, acquired by villagers and given to you, bought and traded with other players. These DIY recipes also show up on your beach once a day as well. Now the kicker with these DIY recipes is that some of these are furniture that cannot be purchased, so there is some grinding in order to get everything in the game, but that's okay because the crafting is a welcome feature that removes the annoyance of past games time gating you for every new tool you wanted to purchase or furniture you wanted. While it is annoying that getting new DIY recipes is entirely up to chance, it's nice that there are various websites, forums, and communities dedicated to trading these recipes if you've got the cash or materials. Now, the annoying thing about crafting is you cannot craft multiple items at once. Why? Like, I guess I can understand furniture, but why can't I craft multiple stacks of fish bait or medicine? Every time I want to craft 10 fish baits, I have to sit through this animation 10 times, which just wastes my time. It feels like the playtesters at Nintendo only tested to see if something worked, not if it was fun or efficient. I will never understand why Nintendo thought it would be okay to have items you need to craft multiples of and not allow us to do so. It just seems like a really clear and obvious decision, and it feels like a really boneheaded move by Nintendo to leave it out. Now this portion of the video is going to sound extremely nitpicky, and I'm well aware of that, but just hear me out to the end of these points and hopefully you'll agree that at the very least I'm making a valid argument. Animal Crossing has some really strangely designed menus and dialogue options, and I'm going to pinpoint out a few of them that really irked me. When speaking to Tom Nook in the Resident Services building, why is "what do I do next" the first option? By the time you've unlocked the upgraded Resident Services building within the first couple of days, you've most likely exhausted all the dialogue he gives when that dialogue option is selected. So why not just get rid of this option, because it's annoying when you're mashing A to get past the same fucking dialogue over and over again, and you select this option because you're subjected to even more useless drivel before you could talk to him about what you wanted to. And on the same dialogue box, when you want to destroy a bridge or an incline, why in the holy mother of fuck is no the first option? There is already a confirmation menu in selecting the damn thing that you want to destroy. Why couldn't you make my life slightly easier by making "yes, please destroy it" the first option? Before I move off this topic, since I don't really have anywhere else to put it in the video, I just want to say, why is Isabelle doing the morning announcements? She literally never has anything to say. It's nice once in a while as a thing of fan service, but ultimately she's just another loading screen that dispenses the same dialogue every single day. I know that she'll let you know if there's a holiday or a villager's birthday or a meteor shower, but that is so often not the case, it's crazy. What I wish she would tell us is when weekly villagers like Flick or Sahara were in our town. I see no reason as to why she wouldn't be able to tell us that. But it's like Nintendo were so preoccupied with bringing back fan favorite Isabelle without thinking how they were going to use her. There are some strange inconsistencies in the inventory menus in this game. For most items, the option to drop the item is the first selection, which is great because if you're dropping items for a trade, it's easy to just spam the A button until everything you want to trade is on the floor. However, there are some items like bells and tools that don't really follow that rule for some reason. For bells, the option to drop them is the last selection, and for tools, it's the third option. Why is there no consistency in these menus? If I'm doing a trade, it's really annoying to do something that wasn't intended. And on that note, why did they get rid of the multiple selection for menus? Why do I have to tap every item in my inventory and navigate through this menu if I just want to sell or drop something? The original game had a multiple drop option, so why on earth would they remove such a convenient feature? It makes no sense to me. When dealing with Dodo Airlines to do multiplayer, why is local play first? I guarantee you that there are way more people playing this game online than there is locally. Once again, when you're mashing A to skip through the repetitive dialogue, it's really easy to select this option, and when you know you screwed up and want to change your option, guess what? You have to start the conversation over again. Why not have you go back to this menu? Sure, it's one more menu you have to deal with, but it'll save people the frustration of starting this whole fucking dialogue over and over again every time they make a mistake. Because for whatever reason, local play is the first dialogue option, when I guarantee you 99% of people that talk to the Dodos want to play online. I like the Dodo code system. It's a good way to have people visit your island if you don't want them to be your friend on Nintendo, and it's a great way to limit the people coming to your island if you're doing turnip selling. But God forbid if you get one digit wrong. because if you do, then you can't just re-enter it for some fucking reason. Wilbur asks you if you want to search again, or you can just leave. So if you get a digit on your dodo code wrong, then you have to go all that dialogue again just to get another shot. Keep in mind, I normally don't even notice these kinds of things in games, but Animal Crossing has given me something new to worry about and look out for, because this is a game that's spent either in menus or in conversation, and every time I was doing either of those things, I was incredibly frustrated at how lackluster their design was. It's like, once again, they were playtested purely on functionality over practicality. Customizing your home has never been easier thanks to this new perspective where you can drag your furniture and arrange things in a Sims style instance, and it's great. I know this was added in Happy Home Designer, but this is the first mainstream Animal Crossing with these building, and it's fantastic. This is one of those quality of life changes I've been waiting for since the original, and in its first implementation, it is pretty perfect. I wish there was some way to integrate that into furnishing your island, because that's still kind of annoying, but kudos to the progress made so far. All of the furniture also looks fantastic in this game, and I really enjoy the variety. It's great to see everyone's homes online, and there's always different looking houses, which is nice to see. However, I really wish that there would have been more effort put into the interactivity of said furniture. Like, how cool would it be if you could actually play pool with your friends or ride around in the teacups as opposed to just looking at them? The original Animal Crossing had physical balls that you could push around. I don't understand why they took that out in this game. Animal Crossing with mini games or side things to do would be a match made in heaven. The game's edition of the Nook phone is one that's hit or miss for me. On the one hand, I love the convenience of adding a map, a way to track your caught insects and fish, a camera, DIY recipes, and more in one device that you can access at any time. However, I felt like the game missed out on a couple of features that would have made the Nook phone awesome, like Nook Pay, a way to combine the bells in your pockets and your savings and use your phone to pay for things, that way you didn't have to always carry bells on you. Animal Crossing City Folk had something very similar with the shopping card. The Nook points are a great way to keep you busy while playing the game. You can earn these Nook miles by crafting items, buying things, talking to your villagers can all earn you these points. And you use these to purchase items, DIY recipes, and things called the Nook Miles ticket, which can take you to a random island for even more exotic items and villagers to meet. I might be an idiot, but when I heard the tagline for these islands was, "We never return," I believe that these would be randomly generated islands, not just a selection of a handful of islands with some rare ones thrown in. What Nintendo meant was, feel free to absolutely decimate these particular islands for all of its resources without remorse, because you'll never return to this particular instance of the island. Not that you'll never see this island format again. So it may be 100% that I'm an idiot that can't read, but I can't help but feel disappointed with how little variety there actually is in these islands. Plus the fact that for whatever reason you can't do them in multiplayer also makes them unappealing. I find myself going to the same islands over and over again, and those rare ones are so infrequent that some people still haven't even gotten to them 2 months into the game's release. Honestly, I can't believe I've gotten this far into the video without ranting about how dog shit this game's multiplayer is. Animal Crossing New Horizons multiplayer is probably the worst in any AAA game I've ever played. It consistently amazes me how Nintendo can make such solid games and still be behind their competitors in multiple ways. If you want to play with your friends, the first thing you gotta do is go to your town's airport and say you want to fly. After connecting to the internet, you can go visit your friend's island after a cutscene showing you flying over your friend's town. All in all, this process takes about a minute, which is long and annoying, but it's fine if it happens once. And you're right, it only happens once. If you're doing 2-player multiplayer. If you're planning on having a room full of 8 people, then holy shit, prepare to sit on your keister for 15 minutes easily. That's right, if someone else is trying to join your game, you have to literally stop whatever you were doing. Whether that was selling or buying something or talking to a villager, you have to end that now and watch this cutscene. Once you finally have all 8 of your friends in the game, lag is common, and if just one of your visitors happens to have a bad connection and they drop out, it kicks all of you out of the island, so you have to do this shit all over again. Oh, and it also doesn't save your progress. I do turnip selling, which means I often go to other people's islands to get the best sale prices. Now, these people often invite several other players to sell their turnips, which extends the process by a lot, because I can't even take a step towards their Nook shop without being interrupted. Now in this particular scenario, I was the first person in this island and their shop was on the far end of this person's island. So on my way to the shop, 5 other people joined, which with this game's multiplayer, I was able to take about 4 steps before being interrupted by this cutscene. I timed it. It takes about 1 minute and 16 seconds for a player to join a game. Running to the end of my island takes 17 seconds. So that times 2 to account for going back is 34 seconds. It takes me 25 seconds to sell my entire inventory to the Nooklings, so in total it takes me about a minute to do what I need to do and get out. But because I'm stuck watching this, it adds over 6 minutes and 20 seconds to my trip. I am not kidding. I literally spent 6 times more time looking at a loading screen than actively accomplishing my mission. Keep in mind that this happens when 5 players join a session. If 7 join, which is the max, you're looking at spending 9 minutes and 12 seconds at someone's island trying to accomplish a task that takes about a minute. Obviously, I choose to sell my turnips, so I kind of subject myself to this, but this multiplayer should be straight up unacceptable in this day and age. This is the kind of shit I'd expect to see in the original Animal Crossing, not in a cutting-edge Nintendo Switch exclusive. And to make things worse, someone in that session had a bad internet connection, so we were all kicked and I didn't end up selling any of my turnips. So not only did I waste 6 minutes of my time, I also didn't get any money for it. It's impossible to find a comparison to another game to prove my point, because no other game similar to Animal Crossing makes you fucking stop everything you're doing and force you to watch this stupid ass cutscene. In the time it takes 1 person to join an Animal Crossing session, 8 people can join your Minecraft server, or you can fill a session in Stardew Valley in that time as well. You know why? Because it's instant. If indie studios can do this, I don't understand why Nintendo can't. However, to its credit, once you get all of your friends into a session and it doesn't lag and no one drops out, and once you're past the awful cutscenes, it's a whole lot of fun despite not being able to do things like access your bank or sell bugs to Flick or fish to CJ. There's more things you can't do, but honestly, while it's annoying, it doesn't really affect my experience. The thing that guts me about multiplayer is how much time is wasted getting to the fun part. By the time I have all of my friends in a session, I don't even want to play anymore. I just want to kick them all out. One egregious thing that I want to mention is the fact that Animal Crossing does not support cloud saves. Nintendo has stated that this is to prevent cheating, but I say fuck that. That's something they should be prepared for. Why should I have to risk losing everything because some dudes want to cheat and dupe their items, which they're doing anyway? That's not to say that Nintendo doesn't have any way to recover your save. They will in the event of your Switch getting lost or broken, but haven't specifically said anything about recovering corrupted data, which has happened. There's a chance that someone getting disconnected from your island can corrupt your data and force a restart. And honestly, that's one of those things that if it happened to me, I would probably never play a single Animal Crossing game again. I've been harping on this multiplayer for so long because Nintendo has the actual balls to charge you for this servers. A lot of people excuse it by saying, oh, it's only $3, but that doesn't excuse how absolute dog shite this service is, especially when compared to their competitors. Animal Crossing New Horizons is both a game that respects your time and absolutely wastes it at the same time. While I really enjoy playing this game, my classic gripes with Nintendo rear their ugly head at every step of the way, and they worsen what I think is a great game. I realize that I spent the majority of this video absolutely railing on this game, but I want to make this clear. I want so badly to love this game, because the visuals are incredible. There are some fantastic quality of life changes that fixed a lot of the issues people had with the series' predecessors, and it's clear that the devs are passionate about this game, and it shows with just how much of a love letter this game seems to the Animal Crossing franchise. But I just can't. I can't love this game due to how frustratingly unpolished this game's quality of life is. I highly doubt these things will be fixed because Nintendo isn't really known for that kind of thing. Well, they won't fix it right away at least. However, as it stands right now, Animal Crossing New Horizons is a great game and easily the best in the series. However, there was so little attention dedicated to making the game's core mechanics fun that it also has some annoying grinding and unnecessarily frustrating design choices that just feel like they were made to waste your time.